This is Sleeping Temple. You have arrived at a quieter place. Tonight's story is The Night Will Grow Lighter. Tonight, Willow Town is almost completely hidden by rain. Not the gentle spring rain that brushes softly against willow leaves. Not the pale autumn rain that drifts quietly over red leaves and old letters. Tonight is different. Tonight is a deep rain night. It is the kind of night where the world slowly disappears. Not all at once, but little by little, as if every familiar shape has been wrapped in soft, dark cloth. The rooftops become low shadows. The narrow lanes between the houses fade into the same deep blue as the sky. The stone steps near the canal shine for a moment beneath a lantern, then vanish again behind the falling water. Outside the window, almost nothing can be seen. Only rain, only the soft silver lines of rain sliding down the glass. Only the slow breathing of a town that has become very still. The old signs above the clothes shops sway gently, though no wind seems strong enough to move them. Their painted letters are blurred by water. The little bakery sign, with its round loaf of bread, is only a dim circle now. The tea shop sign, painted with two blue cups, hangs in the darkness like a quiet memory of morning. Farther down the street, the lantern maker's door is closed, and the lanterns beneath the eaves glow with such sleepy light that they seem almost ready to dream. The rain gathers on every roof. It runs down every tile. It slips from every gutter in long, trembling threads. It taps on shutters, steps, flower pots, wooden railings, and the round stones beside the canal. It fills the night with one wide, patient sound, so steady that after a while it no longer feels separate from the silence. Inside the houses of Willow Town, people have turned down their lamps. Blankets have been pulled to shoulders. Cups of tea have cooled beside beds. A book lies open on a small table, its pages moving only when the damp air breathes through a crack beneath the door. A pair of shoes waits quietly near a threshold, still carrying the faint shine of rain from earlier in the evening. Everywhere, the town is resting, and yet the rain continues. It falls as though it has all the time in the world. It does not hurry toward morning. It does not ask the dark to leave. It simply falls, soft and deep, covering the world with sound until even the thoughts inside the heart may begin to feel less sharp, less separate, and less alone. Tonight, if you were looking out from a warm room in Willow Town, you might not see the bridge. You might not see the river. You might not see the willow trees leaning over the water, but you would know they are still there, resting quietly, breathing slowly, waiting beneath the rain. The old stone bridge has vanished into darkness. By day it arches softly over the canal, gray gray stones warmed by footsteps, moss tucked between its edges, and little leaves resting in the cracks. Children cross it on their way to school. The postman pauses there to look at the river. Willow often sits beneath its shade when the afternoon is mild. But tonight, the bridge has become only a shape behind the rain, a darker curve in the dark, a quiet place where water falls and gathers and falls again. The willow branches beyond the canal exist only as faint shadows moving behind the rain. Their long leaves hang low, heavy with water. Each branch bends toward the river as though listening very carefully. Once in a while, a drop gathers at the tip of a leaf, grows round and clear, then lets go. It falls into the canal without needing to be noticed. Even the river itself seems to dissolve into black silence beneath the falling water. Earlier, before evening closed, the river held many small reflections. It held the last pale color of the sky. It held the windows of the houses and the quiet orange lanterns along the bank. It held the shape of a passing boat in the slow ripple made by an oar returning home. Now the river holds only rain, rain upon rain, 1,000 small touches spurting across the dark surface. One circle opening, another circle crossing it, then another, then too many to count. Only the rain remains. Far away, it falls on the rooftops at the edge of town, where the houses stand close to the fields, and the fields have disappeared into night. Closer, it falls on the closed shutters of the apothecary, on the wet stone path, on the wooden bridge rail, and on the empty bench where someone left a folded cloth earlier in the day. Upon distant rooftops, the rain sounds wide and soft, like hands brushing gently over fabric. Upon the canal, it sounds lower, deeper, as if the water is answering in its sleep. Upon leaves, it sounds small and tender. Upon glass, it sounds near enough to keep company. There is no need to name every sound. There is no need to follow every drop. The rain is doing enough for everyone. It is covering the sharp corners of the day. It is softening the edges of roads, roofs, memories, and unfinished things. It is asking nothing from the town. It is asking nothing from anyone awake inside it. It simply falls and falls and falls, making the whole night into one slow room. If there were worries walking through the streets, the rain would wash their footsteps away. If there were old words caught beneath the eaves, the rain would loosen them gently. If there were a heart listening from a darkened room, the rain would not tell it to be different. It would only stay nearby, repeating the same quiet promise. Here is the roof. Here is the window. Here is the water. Here is the night. And still you are held inside it. Inside the wooden room beside the canal, the lantern glows softly, very softly. It is not a bright lantern, not the kind that calls attention to itself or pushes the darkness away. It is only a small, steady lantern with paper sides the color of warm honey. Its light rests on the table, on the chair, on the woven mat, and on the old blue blanket folded near the stove. It touches each thing gently, then lets the shadows remain where they are. The stove holds only a little warmth now. Earlier in the evening, it had glowed brighter. It had warmed a kettle, dried the damp edge of a towel, and filled the room with the scent of roasted tea and cedar wood. Now its little fire has lowered itself into a bed of red coals. The warmth is quiet, but it is enough. It keeps the room from feeling cold. It keeps the dampness outside the door. It keeps the night from entering too quickly. The kettle no longer hums loudly. Only thin, pale steam rises quietly into the darkness before fading away. It curls once above the spout, turns toward the lantern light, and vanishes as though it has remembered somewhere else it must go. Near the kettle sits a cup of tea, no longer hot, but still fragrant with herbs, rainwater, and a little sweetness from the afternoon. And beside the lantern sleeps Willow. Willow, the orange cat who belongs to no one and everyone in Willow Town. His paws are tucked beneath him. His tail curves around the small, round shape of his body. One ear leans toward the rain, as though some part of him is still listening. His whiskers tremble once, then they become still again. His breathing is so slow that it seems to move with the lantern flame. In, out. A little rise beneath the fur, a little fall. Outside, rain covers the town. Inside, Willow sleeps beside the lantern. The room around him is simple and old in the way that restful rooms often are. There is a shelf of small jars, some holding dried mint, some holding lavender, some holding buttons, shells, and smooth stones found beside the river. There is a narrow bed beneath the window, covered with a quilt faded by many seasons. There is a wooden clock on the wall, though tonight its ticking is nearly hidden beneath the rain. On the windowsill, a few raindrops have slipped through the smallest opening in the frame and gathered beside a clay pot. The plant inside the pot has folded its leaves for the night. It does not seem troubled by the rain. It simply rests, green and quiet, while the world outside becomes blurred. Willow dreams. Perhaps he dreams of walking along the canal at dawn, when the rain has ended and every stone smells clean. Perhaps he dreams of the old bridge returning from the darkness. Perhaps he dreams of warm milk, a dry blanket, and the kind hands of people who stop to greet him in the square. Or perhaps Willow dreams of nothing at all, only warmth, only breathing, only a lantern beside him, small and steady enough to keep shining through the deepest part of the night. Somewhere across the sleeping town, one person remains awake. The room around them is dark, except for faint rain shadows moving across the ceiling. The window is closed, but the sound of rain finds its way in anyway. It slips through the edges of the house. It gathers in the corners. It settles beside the bed like a quiet companion who does not need to speak. Outside the window, nothing can be seen. Only darkness, only rain. The person lies beneath a blanket and listens for a little while. They try to follow the sound of one raindrop, but another comes before the first has finished. Then another, then another. Soon there are too many sounds to separate, and all the separate sounds become one soft wall of water. The thoughts arrive one after another like endless rainfall. Not loud thoughts exactly, not dangerous thoughts. Only the kind of thoughts that often come at night when the day has become quiet and there is finally enough silence for every small, unfinished thing to step forward. A sentence that should have been said differently. A letter waiting to be answered. A worry about tomorrow. A memory of something long ago. A small question with no clear place to rest. They come gently at first, then they gather. One thought against the roof of the mind, another against the window, another somewhere far away, then suddenly close. The person turns onto one side. The pillow is cool. The blanket is warm. The room is safe. Nothing needs to be done right now. Still the thoughts continue, not because they are cruel, but because thoughts sometimes do not know when the day has ended. They keep walking in circles, looking for a door that has already been closed. The rain does not argue with them. The rain does not say, "Be quiet." It does not say, "Hurry into sleep." It simply keeps falling on the roof, on the canal, on the hidden bridge, on the willow leaves bending in the dark. After a time, the person begins to notice something small. The thoughts are still there, but they do not have to be followed. They can pass through the room the way rain passes down the window glass. A thought can appear, a thought can slide, a thought can fade before it reaches the bottom. There is room for them to come. There is room for them to go. The person breathes in slowly, though no one has told them to. The breath arrives on its own, softer than expected. Then the breath leaves, carrying nothing dramatic, only a little of the body's tiredness, only a little of the day's leftover sound. In the darkness, the rain continues, and beneath the rain, the town continues to rest. The bridge is still there, even if it cannot be seen. The river is still there, even if it has become only sound. The lantern beside Willow is still there, even if it is far away. And perhaps the person thinks, a mind does not need to become empty before it can rest. Perhaps it only needs something steady nearby, a roof, a blanket, a quiet room, rain on the window, a small light somewhere across the canal. Then, through the darkness beyond the canal, a very small light appears, far away, warm, steady. At first, the person almost misses it. The rain on the window has turned the world into long silver lines, and the glass is dark enough to hold the reflection of the room. The pillow, the edge of the blanket, the low shape of a chair, all of it floats faintly on the window, as if the room itself has become part of the night. But beyond the reflection, past the rain, past the black ribbon of the canal, there is one tiny lantern still glowing beside the river. Willow's window. The person knows that window, though they have never thought much about it before. Everyone in Willow Town knows the little wooden room near the canal, the room where Willow often sleeps, where an old kettle rests on the stove, where a lantern is left glowing on rain-dark nights. It is not the brightest window in town. It is not high or grand or decorated with colored glass. It is only small, square, and quietly lit. Tonight, that is enough. The light does not reach across the canal in any strong way. It does not push aside the rain. It does not reveal the bridge or bring back the shape of the distant trees. It simply remains where it is, a small amber point behind the falling water. Still the person keeps watching. A drop of rain slides down the glass and passes over the little light, stretching it into a golden thread. Another drop follows and softens it again. For a moment, the light seems to tremble. Then it returns to itself, small, warm, steady. The person imagines Willow sleeping there, curled beside the lantern with one paw tucked beneath his chin. They imagine the stove holding its last red coals. They imagine steam vanishing from the kettle, the old blue blanket folded near the wall, the jars on the shelf, the plant on the windowsill, and the lantern quietly doing the one thing a lantern knows how to do. It does not need to understand the rain. It does not need to explain the darkness. It only glows. Sometimes, on a deep rain night, one small light can change the shape of the dark, not by making the whole town bright, and not by turning night into morning before it is ready, but by giving the eyes somewhere gentle to rest. The person's thoughts still move, but they seem farther apart now. There is more room between them. The rain fills that room. The little light fills it too. Not with answers, but with quiet company. Across the canal, Willow sleeps on. He does not know that someone has noticed the lantern. He does not know that the small square of light has become a place for a wakeful heart to lean. He only breathes beside it, soft and slow, while the rain covers the roofs and the river keeps its dark path through town. The person watches a little longer, then a little longer still, and without deciding to be calmer, they become just a little calmer. Not completely asleep, not fully free of every thought, only less alone in the dark. The sleepless person keeps watching the lantern. Then, slowly, almost without realizing, the person begins listening to the rain itself. Not listening as someone listens for news. Not listening as someone waits for something to happen. Only listening in the way a tired body listens when it is finally allowed to stop holding the whole day at once. One raindrop against the roof, another against the canal, another against distant leaves somewhere hidden in the dark. At first, the sounds seemed to come from everywhere. The roof above, the window beside the bed, the narrow street below, the canal beyond the houses, the unseen bridge, the willow branches leaning low over the water. But after a while, the person does not need to know where each sound begins. The rain becomes one sound, then many sounds, then one sound again. A soft tapping, a hush, a deeper patter on the stones, a lighter whisper through the leaves. The mind, which had been following thoughts, begins following rain instead. It follows one drop down the window glass. It follows another from the roof to the gutter. It follows the water as it travels along the edge of a tile, pauses, gathers, and falls. It follows the sound into the canal, where the dark surface receives everything without hurry. There is no need to hold the thought that comes next. There is no need to finish the sentence that started earlier. There is no need to solve tomorrow while the rain is falling tonight. The person breathes. The rain answers. The person breathes again. The rain continues. Across the canal, the tiny lantern glows. Its light has become softer now, perhaps because the eyes are tired, perhaps because the room is warmer, perhaps because the night itself has learned to lower its voice. The light blurs at the edges, but it does not disappear. The person lets the eyelids grow heavy, then opens them once more. The lantern is still there. The rain is still there. The room is still safe. Nothing has been lost by closing the eyes for a moment, so the person closes them again. Behind closed eyes, the rain sounds even nearer. It is no longer only outside. It seems to move through the body with the breath, washing softly over the shoulders, the hands, the chest, the small place behind the forehead where thoughts had been gathering. thoughts do not vanish all at once. They simply become less bright, less urgent, as if each one has been wrapped in rain and set down somewhere kind. One breath, one drop, one quiet room. Again, one breath, one drop, one quiet room. The person does not know when listening becomes resting. There is no clear doorway, no sudden change, only a gradual loosening, like a hand opening after holding something for a long time. The rain keeps falling, and in the falling there is a kind of permission. You may be here. You may be tired. You may listen without fixing anything. You may let the night be deep and still be held within it. Inside dreams, Willow walks quietly beside a dark riverbank. The rain falls softly across the water, though in the dream it makes almost no sound. It touches the river in silver circles. It rests on the grass like tiny beads of light. It gathers on Willow's fur without making him cold. The dream river is wide, slow, and very dark, but not frightening. It is the kind of darkness that belongs to deep water, old trees, in the middle of a peaceful night. Willow walks with his tail lifted slightly, his paws making no sound on the wet path. Along the shore stand many sleepless people. Some hold heavy little thoughts in their hands. Some carry old, tired feelings across their shoulders. Some bring small worries folded carefully inside their coat pockets, as if they have been carrying them for so long that they almost forgot they could be put down. No one speaks loudly beside the dream river. There is no need. The rain knows why they have come. The river knows too. Even the reeds along the bank seem to understand, bending gently whenever a person steps closer to the water. One by one, they slowly place those burdens beside the river. A worry about tomorrow becomes a smooth gray stone and is set near the edge of the path. An old sadness becomes a folded leaf and is placed upon the water. A sentence that was never finished becomes a small piece of paper, softened by rain until it no longer needs to be read. A tired question becomes a shell, pale and quiet, resting in the grass. The river does not rush to take these things away. It is patient. It lets each person set something down at the right moment. Some people keep holding their burdens for a little while longer, and that is all right. Willow passes them without judgment. He does not hurry them. He only walks beside the river, orange and calm beneath the dream rain. When someone is ready, the water comes a little closer. A ripple touches the folded leaf. A small wave reaches the edge of the paper. The gray stone grows darker, then softer in appearance, as if the rain has rounded its edges. Nothing dramatic happens. There is no sudden brightness, no loud music, no great change that must be understood. Only a gentle letting go one small thing at a time. Willow stops beside a person who is standing very still. The person has empty hands, but their shoulders are lifted as if they are still carrying something invisible. Willow sits near their feet. He wraps his tail around his paws and looks toward the river. The person looks too. Together they watch the rain fall on the dark water. After a while, the person's shoulders lower just a little, then a little more. A breath leaves them, warm and tired, and becomes mist in the dream air. The mist rises, mingles with the rain, and disappears over the river. Willow blinks slowly, as cats do when there is nothing to fear. Far down the bank, small lanterns float on the water. They are not bright. They are only enough to show the river's gentle path. Each lantern carries a soft golden reflection, and each reflection trembles whenever rain touches it. Together they drift toward a bend where the darkness seems thinner. The dream does not say that every burden is gone forever. It only says that for tonight, some things may rest beside the river. For tonight, the hands may open. For tonight, the shoulders may soften. For tonight, the rain may carry what it can, and the river may keep watch over the rest. Willow rises and continues walking. Behind him, the people along the bank grow quieter. Some sit down in the grass. Some close their eyes. Some turn toward home, though in dreams, home may be only the next peaceful breath. Above the river, the rain goes on falling, softly, steadily, kindly. If tonight the world also feels too dark, or your thoughts feel too loud, perhaps you do not need to force yourself to become peaceful immediately. Perhaps tonight you only need to listen to the rain a little longer, then a little longer still. There is no need to rush yourself into sleep. Sleep is not a door that must be pushed open. It is more like a riverbank found slowly in the dark, or a lantern seen through rain from across the canal. You may arrive there gently. You may arrive with thoughts still moving. You may arrive with the day not quite finished inside you. That is all right. The night is wide enough to hold unfinished things. Willow will remain beside the lantern. He will keep sleeping in the wooden room near the canal, with his paws tucked beneath him and his breathing slow. The stove will keep its small warmth. The kettle will rest. The old blue blanket will wait near the wall. The jars on the shelf will hold their quiet scents of mint, lavender, cedar, and tea. The lantern will glow, not brightly, not urgently, only steadily enough for the darkness to have a soft center. Outside, rain will continue to fall over Willow Town. It will fall on the bridge you cannot see. It will fall on the river that has become mostly sound. It will fall on empty bench, the closed shop doors, the willow leaves, and the stones beside the canal. It will fall on everything that is resting, and it will fall on everything that is not quite ready to rest yet. The rain does not mind. It has time. You may let your thoughts come and go the way drops slide down a window. You may notice one, then let it pass. You may notice another, then let the rain take the edges from it. You do not have to follow each thought to its ending. You do not have to answer every question the night brings to your pillow. For now, there is the sound of rain. For now, there is the small light. For now, there is this breath, and then this one, and then one more. Somewhere in Willow's dream, the dark river keeps moving. The folded leaf drifts slowly away. The smooth gray stone rests where it was placed. The small paper softens in the rain until its words no longer feel heavy. Along the bank, the people who were awake begin to sit more comfortably. Some lean against old trees. Some listen with closed eyes. Some discover that they have already set down more than they thought. The night does not become light all at once. It grows lighter by degrees, a little space between thoughts, a little warmth beneath the blanket, a little less weight in the shoulders, a little more trust in the rain, a little glow across the canal. Then, perhaps, the first small drifting toward sleep. You may not notice the moment it begins. That is often how rest arrives, quietly, without needing to be praised, without needing to be named. One moment you are listening to the rain, and the next, the sound has become part of a dream. One moment the lantern is far away across the canal, and the next it is inside you, small and warm and steady. If you wake again, the rain will still be there. If another thought comes, the night will still be wide enough. If sleep takes its time, Willow will still be beside the lantern, breathing slowly in the wooden room near the river. So let the rain continue. Let the town rest beneath it. Let the bridge remain hidden until morning. Let the river carry what it can. Let the little light glow without effort. And let yourself become softer, not because you have solved everything, but because for this moment, nothing more is required. The deep rain night will not last forever. No night does. Somewhere beyond the clouds, morning is already waiting in the quietest possible way. It is not hurrying. It is not pushing against the dark. It is simply there, patient and pale, trusting that when the time comes, the rain will thin, The bridge will return, the river will shine, and Willow Town will open its sleepy windows one by one. But for now, it is still night, a safe night, a rain-filled night, a night with one small lantern glowing beside the canal. Listen to the rain a little longer, then a little longer still. The night will grow lighter,